Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are breaking down week 17 of fantasy hockey. I'm on Yahoo and week 17 covers 2 weeks, so it goes from January 30th to February 12th. I will be covering the games within this range, breaking down the schedule, which teams have the best, which teams have the worst, and which streamers you should add to help you win your matchup. But before we get into that, I want to look at the must-add players on the waiver wire. These are just some of my personal favorite ads right now on the wire, guys that I think are under-rostered and underrated. Number one is Carter Verhaeghe of the Florida Panthers. He's been on an absolute tear as of late. He has 26 goals in 51 games, putting him on pace for an over 40-goal season. Joel Eriksson Ek has been so good as of late, playing on that first line power play. Definitely a sleeper. I know he only has a center position, but I really like him as a long-term hold. We have a guy like Kevin Hayes, who's only 33% rostered despite being an almost point per game player. He has 45 points in 50 games. Flyers are not the best team, but I think he's going to keep up this type of production because we already have a 50 game sample size. Then we have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I know Eric Comrie just came back and got a W, but Luukkonen has been getting the majority of the starts as of late. So if you're looking for a goalie, this could be a really good ad. We also have Seth Jones, who does play on one of the worst teams in the league, but he puts up amazing peripherals, and he kind of went on a little bit of a heater in the past 2 weeks. I think he's just a solid player. If your league doesn't value minuses too much, plus minus that is, I think he could be a really good long-term hold. At number 6, we have Evan Rodriguez of the Colorado Avalanche. He is likely going to stay in that top 6 for the rest of the season, so he could be playing with McKinnon or Rantanen or even both. I think he has played super well. He has 26 points in 37 games, and with Colorado having one of the best playoff schedules in the league, I think this is a great long-term hold. Then we have Nick Schmaltz of the Arizona Coyotes, who just had a 4-point night. He also had a hat trick. He's just a guy that can go off in any given night. I know the Coyotes are not the best team, but he's almost a point per game player, and at 20% roster, this could be a massive steal. At number 8, we have Philip Cheetle of the New York Rangers. He doesn't see first line power play time, and I think he is on the third line right now, but he has 16 goals in 41 games, also a total of 29 points. He's been on fire as of late, and if he continues this type of production, his roster definitely needs to be higher. Lastly, we have Victor Olofsson of the Buffalo Sabres. He doesn't see any first line power play time, but he is a sniper, guys. He has 23 goals in 49 games, but only 29 points, so he doesn't put up a lot of assists. Definitely a deeper league ad, but I like what I'm seeing from Olofsson as of late. Moving on to the week 17 schedule, this covers 2 weeks like I said, the couple of days before the All-Star break and then the week after, and I rank these by off nights and opponent strength. Number 1 is the Seattle Kraken, and most teams have a lot of off nights this week, but every game that they have 4 games, they are all off nights: Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, so I really like them this week. Then we have the Oilers, who have 4 games and 3 off nights. They have a really good opponent record, so their players can put up a lot of points. Really like them for this week. Then we have the Anaheim Ducks, like the Seattle Kraken. They have 4 games and 4 off nights: Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday for the Ducks. Then we have the Islanders and the Lightning. The Islanders are above the Lightning because they have a better opponent record, but they have the same schedule: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 4 games and 3 off nights. Then we have the Flyers, who have 4 games and 3 off nights as well: Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Then we have the Wild, who have 4 games and 3 off nights as well: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. The Canucks with 4 games and 3 off nights: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday as well. And then lastly, we have the Rangers, who have 4 games and 3 off nights as well. They are at the bottom of this list because their opponent strength is pretty tough. However, they're still a good option, and there are a couple of players that I will tell you guys to stream. In terms of the worst schedules, we have a bunch of teams with only 2 games this week, which is not ideal. Number 1 being the Los Angeles Kings, who also have a very, very tough schedule in terms of opponent record. Then we have the Buffalo Sabres, Boston Bruins, Nashville Predators, Ottawa Senators, St. Louis Blues, and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets have a great opponent record, so that could be good, but in general, you don't want to stream any of these teams. They're not going to help you maximize your games. Looking at the teams with the easiest schedules, we have a bunch of teams on here that have low opponent records. Number 1 being the Jets, but with 2 games, you don't really want to stream any of these players. Then you have the Blackhawks, the Coyotes, the Oilers, the Maple Leafs, the Golden Knights, the Islanders. So if you have any players on these teams, this could be really good for you in terms of getting your fantasy points. Then we have the teams with the hardest schedules, meaning the highest opponent record. We have the Los Angeles Kings, super high opponent record. They do score a lot of goals, but not a good sign in terms of them winning these games. Then we have the Sabres, the Blue Jackets, Rockets, the Bruins, the Hurricanes, the Rangers, and the Canucks. In general, you might want to avoid these teams and their tough matchups. Now let's talk about the best streamers for this week, guys. We have a bunch of players on this list, and I factored into everything: how good that player is playing, the team schedule, the team's opponent record, the number of off nights, and I compiled a list with 16 guys. So let's start it off. Number 1, Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks. With 4 games and 4 off nights, I really like Zegras this week. He does have a high roster percentage, so he might not be available in a lot of your leagues, but in more shallow leagues, he could be there. At number 2, we have Burakovsky, who also has 4 games and 4 off nights. He's leading the Kraken in points this year, and the Kraken can score a lot of goals, so I expect him to get on the score sheet and give you guys some good fantasy points. At number 3, we have Eric Sinek, who has been playing incredible lately, has 4 games and 3 off nights, puts up amazing peripherals. He also is a long-term hold in my opinion, and that's the same thing with Kevin Hayes. He's been playing incredible. I think he's a long-term hold, and he has 4 games and 3 off nights too, so a really solid option as well. Then we have Brandon Hagel, who's been playing on the first line with Kucherov and Point, and also on the first line power play with 4 games and 3 off nights. If he is on your waiver wire, I suggest you pick him up for the week and even potential for long term. At number 6, we have Jared McCann, who has 23 goals in 46 games. Like I said with Burakovsky, the Seattle Kraken have a good schedule this week, 4 games and all off nights. So if you want to maximize your games and potentially get some goals, I think McCann is an amazing option. And at number 7 and 8, we have Brock Nelson and Anders Lee. Brock Nelson is definitely a huge sleeper. He's been playing really well as of late. The Islanders have been kind of up and down. They've been really on a cold streak lately, but maybe they can find their game again, and I just like them with 4 games and 3 off nights. Then we have Matt Boldy, who also has a higher roster percentage, so he might not be available in a lot of your leagues, but with 4 games and 3 off nights, he's on the first line power plays in that top 6. I like Boldy to put up some fantasy points this week. At number 10, we have Vincent Trocheck of the New York Rangers with 4 games and 3 off nights. He puts up really good peripherals, so even if he doesn't get points, he's going to give you some sort of fantasy points. He's playing on the first line power play with all those guys, Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, and I always like him as a solid stream. Then at number 11, we have Jordan Eberle of the Seattle Kraken, who have the best schedule this week. I think Burakovsky and McCann are better options, but if those guys are picked up or already rostered, I think you should take a look at Eberle. Then at number 12 and 13, we have Adam Henrique and Mason McTavish. 4 games and 4 off nights, have played solid this year, so I like those guys too to maximize your games. Then at number 14, we have Andrei Kuzmenko of the Vancouver Canucks. They have 4 games and 3 off nights, and Kuzmenko has played incredible this year. He has 41 points in 48 games. He just signed a 2-year contract, and he plays on a line with Elias Pettersson, who he has a lot of chemistry with. And then lastly, we have Alex Killorn of the Tampa Bay Lightning with 4 games and 3 off nights. Just a solid player who puts up decent peripherals too. He can find himself on the score sheet in any given night. And then Philip Cheadle, who is on the Rangers and has been playing incredible lately. He is on that third line and not on that first line power play, but he does have 16 goals in 41 games, putting him on pace for 32 goals in a full season. Moving on to goalie streamers, we have 2 goalies on this list. Number 1 being Martin Jones of the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken have played absolutely incredible as of late. Martin Jones has a ton of wins, and they have 4 games, all off nights. They do have a back-to-back Thursday and Friday, so I expect Jones to get 3 starts this week, which could mean a lot of fantasy points. And then we have John Gibson. The Anaheim Ducks are one of the worst teams in the league, so this might be a little bit of a risky pickup, but they do have 4 games and 4 off nights, and also no back-to-back, so there's a chance Gibson can get 4 starts this week. The last thing we're talking about today is best back-to-back goalies. These are one-night streams that could potentially win you your week because some of these backup goalies are facing pretty bad teams. So number 1, we have Casey DeSmith of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And like always, you want to stream goalies against the Anaheim Ducks. It's pretty much a guaranteed win. And yeah, Friday they play the Ducks. They have a back-to-back, and I'm assuming DeSmith is going to get that start. Then we have Charlie Lindgren of the Capitals. Sunday they play the Sharks. I'm assuming Lindgren is going to get that start. That could be really good for you. Number 3 is Philip Gustafsson of the Minnesota Wild, who has some of the best goalie stats in the league. They play Vegas on Thursday, and even though Vegas is supposed to be one of the best teams in the league, they've been struggling really bad in the past 2 weeks, so this could mean a lot of fantasy points for Gustafsson. At number 4, we have Connor Ingram and Koralve Melka of the Arizona Coyotes. Either one of them are going to get this start. They play Chicago on Friday, and this could likely be a low-scoring game with a lot of shots against. The last 3 goaltenders on this list aren't the best options, but they could still give you some fantasy points. Halak versus the Kraken on Friday. If the Rangers get a W, then he could be a great stream. Then we have Montembeault and Allen Saturday versus the Islanders. The Islanders have not been playing well as of late, and Montembeault and Allen make a lot of saves, so Montreal, I think, is top 3 in shots against. That could put up a lot of fantasy points for you as well. And then lastly, we have Philip Grubauer, who played the Rangers on Friday. He's most likely getting that start. So either him or Halak are going to get that W. So one of them should be solid for a stream. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below, and I will catch you in my next video. Like always, have a good one.